Welcome to Project U 2.2, where my goal is to help you break barriers and step confidently into an elevated version of yourself. This podcast dives into mindset, growth, and creating the life you were meant to live. I'm Carrie, a former teacher turned leadership and growth mentor, helping people overcome self-doubt and embrace their next chapter. I believe you are your greatest project. Each week, we'll explore the habits, stories, and strategies that help you break barriers, step into your potential, and level up your life. Let's get started. Today's episode is one that's close to my heart because it's about something we all want more of in our lives: ease, flow, and a sense of magic. We're talking about magnetic energy and manifestation, how your frequency, your energy, and the way you show up in the world can change what shows up for you. Today, we're diving into something very powerful: what it means to turn on your magnetic personality and to manifest the life you want. Not by being fake, not by pushing for things with an agenda, but by being authentic, shining your light, and letting life meet you where you are. We've all had times where we feel stuck in frustration, scrolling on the couch, skipping workouts, feeling drained. But then there's that shift. The moment you start showing up differently, everything around you starts showing up differently too. You attract people, opportunities, even little surprises that make you realize you're becoming who you were meant to be. Now, if you've been following along, you know we've already talked about energy and frequency in a more scientific sense, how we're all vibrating beings, how emotions carry measurable frequencies, and how showing up like Tigger versus Eeyore changes how people respond to you. Today, I just want to take that a step further because being magnetic isn't just about having a great personality. It's about learning how to manifest the things you want, not by faking it or forcing it, but by shining authentically, raising your frequency and trusting that the universe will meet you halfway. And to show you how this plays out in real life, I'm going to share 2 stories from my own journey. Stories that unfolded as I flew halfway around the world to attend a women's retreat in Greece last month. Both of those experiences were powerful lessons in manifestation, and both taught me that when you turn your energy to a higher frequency, life always responds, even if it's not in the exact way we pictured. I want to start with my Greece flight story, my first big manifestation test. So picture this. I was flying to Greece for a women's retreat with 7 strangers. I was flying by myself, technically, and I was meeting them in Greece. I had never done anything like this before. Part of me was so excited. Another part of me was extremely nervous. Flying that far, being alone, stepping into all of the unknowns. My son had encouraged me to splurge on a first-class airplane ticket, but I couldn't bring myself to spend thousands of extra dollars just to sit in a nicer seat, even though a round-trip economy ticket was already stretching me. So I booked economy, and I told myself, maybe, just maybe, I could manifest something better along the way. Before the trip, I picked up some $5 Starbucks gift cards, just some little tokens of appreciation that I could hand out on my journey. I figured even if I didn't get upgraded, I could spread a little kindness. When I got to Chicago for my connecting flight, I walked up to the counter and I scanned the faces of the employees. There were 4 employees behind the desk. Instead of rushing, I asked myself, whose energy feels good to me? And I studied them. Who could I connect with? I chose one particular employee, walked up and said, "Hi, I'm flying alone today, and if you have any upgrades available for a reasonable or discounted price, I would love to be considered." He checked. Unfortunately, nothing was available. I smiled, handed him one of the Starbucks gift cards, and thanked him for taking the time to look. A little while later, he came over again and asked for my passport. My heart leapt. Maybe this was it. But he came back and said the flight was full, but promised he'd keep me in mind. When it was time to board, I squeezed into my economy seat between two strangers. But here's the thing. I wasn't disappointed. Something inside of me just kept saying, this isn't over yet. Stay open. And sure enough, a few minutes later, that same airline employee walked down the aisle. He was carrying a big bottle of water and a glass of champagne for me. It was a plastic glass, but I'll take it. He told me that he wanted to wish me luck on my solo trip, even though there were no upgrades available. I was so touched by his kindness. I raised my glass and toasted to him and to myself for having the courage to take this trip. Then, just as I finished the drink, he came back. He leaned down and asked if I minded moving to a seat with a broken tray. I said, of course not. He smiled and said, come with me. He moved me into a premium economy seat with more space, better snacks, free drinks, and a higher level of care. It even came with a little bag with a blanket and nicer headphones and an eye mask and support stockings. It wasn't first class, but it was a huge upgrade from where I started. And it felt like the universe was saying, see, when you put your authentic energy, show gratitude, kindness, and openness, you get taken care of. That flight was a turning point. It showed me that manifestation is about more than wishing. It's about aligning your energy, showing up authentically, and being open to receiving blessings in unexpected ways. Fast forward a week to my flight home. This is where manifestation happens, but looks a little different. Here's where the story gets even more interesting. On my flight home, I thought, let's try this again. Because after seeing those first class seats on the way to Greece, you guys, they have beds with blankets in there, or these little pods with pillows, and they can lay down and sleep this whole long 9.5-hour flight. I was dreaming big. This time, though, I missed the chance to ask at the gate. So once I boarded in London, I decided to find a flight attendant whose energy matched mine, and I approached her with the same request. I went up to her and just said, hey, I'm flying alone, and if there are any upgrades available, I would love to be considered. She gave me a kind smile, but told me that the plane was completely full, no upgrades. I handed her a gift card anyway and just thanked her for her time. A little while later, I noticed she was being treated harshly by another passenger. The woman snapped at her about having to put her tray up, and it just broke my heart to see the kindness of this stewardess being met with such rudeness. So right then I thought, I'm going to be her positive interaction today to make up for that rude lady. So not long after, she came back to me and she had champagne and chocolates for me. She didn't have an upgrade to offer, but she offered kindness. She checked on me multiple times throughout the flight. She even brought treats for me and the man sitting next to me. And throughout the flight, this man was taking up part of my seat, part of my space, even though he was so kind. But the lady noticed, and before we landed, she brought me a handwritten note, a large bottle of water, and even a bottle of champagne for my journey home. We took a selfie together, and I just felt so seen and deeply cared for. Now, did I manifest first class? No, that's still on my agenda. I still will do that sometime. That's on my bucket list. But I did manifest connection. I manifested kindness and a reminder that energy is contagious. By choosing to stay in gratitude, By seeing her and honoring her humanity, the universe gave me something even more meaningful than a seat upgrade. It gave me a human connection that filled my heart. Sometimes life gives us bigger, more important lessons. And I learned that manifestation isn't about forcing the universe to give you exactly what you want. It's about aligning your frequency with what you desire, showing up authentically, and trusting that what comes back will be for your highest good. Sometimes there's a better seat. Sometimes it's champagne and chocolate. Sometimes it's simply the experience of being seen and cared for. Even with all of the excitement of upgrades and new experiences, I was still human. And on my trip, right at the beginning, I missed home. After 2 days of traveling with little sleep and finding out I had to share a bed with a stranger, I felt the pull of my family and my routine. I was exhausted, and I just wanted the comfort of home. I called my family that first night when I was in Greece. When I heard their voices, I broke down a little. I pulled myself together, but my heart still ached just a little bit. Knowing that I could handle this adventure, or at least trying to convince myself that I could, I went down to join the strangers for dinner. They were all so kind, but the environment was new and I was stepping way out of my comfort zone. The next morning, we took a walk. We went down and waded in the Mediterranean, and I silently prayed to God to help me find a small sign of home or love, maybe a rock that would remind me of what I cherish. So I searched the bottom of the sea, and in less than 22 seconds, I bent over and found it. A rock shaped exactly like a mitten or the state of Michigan, my home state. And I couldn't believe it, honestly. And then right next to it, there was another rock shaped like a heart. It was slightly lopsided, which made it even more endearing. Life and love aren't perfect, and that imperfection made it perfect. I picked up both rocks, took photos, and carried them with me for the rest of the week. It was a simple, small sign, but to me it was huge, and it filled me with joy, grounded me, reminded me that when we align our energy and show up authentically, even tiny manifestations can make a huge impact on our experience. When the universe feels like it's reaching down and giving you a hug, we learn that sometimes the most powerful manifestations are about peace, connection, and reassurance. That's the magnetic life. Not forcing, not faking, but opening up, shining your light, and trusting that what you need will find its way to you. I want to leave you with this. What would shift for you if you stopped spiraling in frustration and instead leaned into your authentic light? What if you believed that your confidence, your joy, your true self could draw in exactly what you need and then watch for it to happen and be astonished, be amazed? You don't have to chase it, you just have to align. When you are radiating gratitude, joy, and openness, the universe responds. It may not always look like first class, but it will always feel like alignment. And here's the part I want you to really hear. None of this, none of it was about being fake or trying to manipulate anyone. I wasn't handing out gift cards as bribes. I wasn't putting on a false smile. I was simply choosing to show up with authentic kindness and high frequency energy. That's what makes the difference. People feel the difference between fake enthusiasm and genuine warmth. One is going to push people away, but genuine warmth is going to draw them in. Let's talk about how to turn on your magnetic energy. How could you do it in your own life? How do you turn on your magnetic personality so that it feels real and authentic? Let me give you just a few practices to start today. Set your frequency each morning. Before you scroll on your phone, ask yourself, how do I want to feel today? What frequency do I want to carry? Are you going for Eeyore or Tigger, or a little bit of a balance in between? Give before you get. Just like my little Starbucks cards, it doesn't have to be much. It could be a smile, a compliment, a note of thanks. Put out the energy that you want to receive. 3, stay open. Don't get so locked into one specific outcome that you miss the blessing in front of you. It might not be first class that comes your way. It might be a connection that nourishes your soul instead. 4, pair gratitude with action. Manifestation isn't just thinking happy thoughts. It is believing, radiating, and taking aligned action. The combination of energy and action, that's what creates flow. 5, reflect daily. At the end of each day, just ask yourself where you notice some alignment happening and where the energy came back to you. This is just going to build your awareness and keep your frequency high. So this week, practice an intentional frequency shift every single day. It's so much fun, you guys. Smile at someone, offer a compliment, ask what you want, but with openness instead of an expectation. And notice what happens. Notice that ripple effect. Notice the opportunities, the kindness that flow back into your life. Magnetic energy. Remember when you used to just lie at home on the couch, scrolling through social media or watching Netflix, maybe skipping your workout, letting life just happen. The craziest thing happens when you shift. You're no longer the person who's frustrated with life, frustrated with others. Instead, you become the person who attracts people, attracts opportunities and joy into your circle. You notice upgrades in unexpected places, like on airplanes, and you gain confidence to step outside your comfort zone. With each small step, your confidence grows, your joy increases, and your life feels lighter and happier. You become a truer version of yourself, the person you were meant to be. You shine brighter. Stop getting caught in negative spirals. Stop beating yourself up over choices or what ifs. Whether it's gaining more clients, losing weight, making new friends, feeling comfortable in your own skin, you are actively tuning into the life that you want. And this is what happens when you turn your magnetic energy on and let your shine glow authentically. Manifestation isn't about perfection. It's not about being fake. It's about shining authentically, staying grateful, and being open to the unexpected ways that life wants to bless you. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Project You 2.2. If today's story spoke to you, please share this with a friend, subscribe, leave a review. It means so much, and maybe you can help bring some joy into someone else's life. And remember, you are magnetic. The frequency you carry matters. Keep shining, keep trusting, and keep tuning into the life that you were meant to create. Until next time, step boldly into your next chapter.